The Nevis Island Administration Civil Proceedings Bill 2023 was debated in the National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis in an effort to rectify a legal shortcoming that affected the Nevis Island Administration. The need arose after an appeals court preferred the ruling that the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis does not give the Nevis administration the ability to sue or to be sued. Through legislation, the NIA Legal Department and the Attorney General's Office worked out a solution by way of the Nevis Island Administration Civil Proceedings Bill 2023. Members of Parliament Dr. Timothy Harris of Constituency Number 7 and Mr. Sean Richards of Constituency Number 5 pushed unsuccessfully for the bill to be subject to public consultation because of references made in the appeals court case to the country's constitution. According to Attorney General Garth Wilkin, the bill does not change the Constitution, but it clarifies and specifically authorizes a practice that has been followed for almost 40 years since independence. In wrapping up the debate on the bill, the Attorney General made these comments.
This bill does not change the Constitution. And no matter how many WhatsApp, propaganda, graphics you receive, those are not the truth. The truth is, Madam Speaker, is that this bill does not add any matters within the exclusive domain of the NIA in the Constitution. What does this bill do, Madam Speaker? It simply changes the Crown proceedings framework to clarify by legislative framework that the NIA, as an organ of the Crown, can sue and be sued with respect to the matters within the exclusive domain. That is why the recitals that one of the members was referred to was in the bill. And I think I have to repeat it, although I thought I summed it up in my initial presentation as to why we were here. The Chief Justice, learned Chief Justice, in her opinion, as she has the right to have, said, the NIA has no legal standing to sue and be sued in civil proceedings, given the applicability of the Crown Proceedings Act to Nevis. That is not about the Constitution. She is saying our legislative framework does not allow or support the NIA to sue and be sued. That is what we're trying to rectify today.
Having this clarity is expected to bring confidence on matters of contracts and agreements involving the Nevis administration and private sector companies. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
Former football referee and social activist Earl Clark has died. Mr. Clark was ailing for some time, and news broke Thursday morning that he had passed. He has been hailed by many who knew him as a community-oriented person who served the country in various capacities, including as a police officer. He was also a regular contributor as a columnist to the Labour Spokesman newspaper and SKN Vibes, and was a frequent caller on radio talk shows in the country, speaking out on social issues home and abroad. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew paid tribute to Mr. Clark. In a Facebook post, the Prime Minister said he was deeply saddened by the news of his passing. He said, quote, "I call him Professor because of the endless words of wisdom he often shared. He has contributed tremendously to nation building on numerous levels as an ardent party supporter and member, and through several other organizations such as the St. Kitts Nevis Trades and Labor Union and Cuba St. Kitts Nevis Friendship Association, to name a few. The nation has benefited greatly from his wealth of knowledge and passion. His energetic and spirited contributions will be surely missed." End quote. Mr. Clark served as a veteran football referee, officiating local leagues in the First Division. A tribute from the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association said Clark was a stickler for the rules of football, was very stern and keen on implementing the laws of the sport. As a former police officer, some believe this may have also influenced his strict interpretation of the laws of football in how he officiated. Former SKNFA President Stanley Frank says Earl Clark contributed to every sport in St. Kitts and Nevis. He remembers him also as a strong community man who would get involved in any activity geared at advancing communities across the Federation. Mr. Clark's passing comes days after the passing of former educator Oswald Elliott. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
Music's finest artists converge in Bastia from June 22nd to June 24th for the 25th hosting of the St. Kitts Music Festival. Hitting the festival main stage will be Skillibeng, Chronix, Coffee, Byron Messiah, Anthony B, Governor, Romaine Virgo, TJ, Valiant.
Them boy don't got no bodies.
Grand Masters, Collision Band, Small X Band, New Vibes Band International, Mr. Bagdal, Akayu Sweet, Preedy, Guess the Band, Ricardo Drew, Patrice Roberts, Skinny Fabulous, Nyla Blackman, Status. Erica Edwards, 313 Family, Gramps Morgan, Nitra B, Ear Supply, Dexter Daps, and Burner Boy. It's the 25th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from June 22nd to June 24th at Warner Park. An experience like no other. Tickets are now available at stkittsmusicfestival.com.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
Why are you hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar?
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She will give you more than you can imagine.
A regional agriculture project designed to strengthen water management and soil resources was officially launched on Thursday at the Agriculture Department Conference Room in Lagreet. The project is entitled Strengthening the Management of Water and Soil Resources of the Sustainability of Agri-Food Systems of Caribbean Countries in the Context of the COVID-19 Pandemic. It is supported by the Regional Fund for Triangular Cooperation in Latin America and the Caribbean, with technical missions in St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Maria Camelli of the Secretariat of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries in Argentina gave a presentation on the status of the cooperation with Argentina, the project, and other initiatives with the Argentine government.
The three pillars that we have in the project is to make a regional report where we are going to analyze and characterize the issues and of all the islands, all of the countries that is participating in the project, and we have then the other pillar that is the training. We are making a virtual training now that is doing it now in this year, that you can participate if you want. And also in the missions we are making training with our officers to build capacities in some technologies that each country needs.
The demonstration of the project will be done on the Gideon Force Farm in Virgiles. Ian Chapman, crop program leader at the Department of Agriculture, gave a synopsis of how the demonstration will be done.
We will manage the site. Of course, the site will be managed by the members of the Gideon Force Cooperative Society and by the Extension Division of the Department of Agriculture. In relation to who will be the primary beneficiaries of the project, of course, once again, will be Gideon Force, and of course the secondary beneficiaries will be the persons of the nearby communities and also the restaurants and farmers that who will benefit from the produce that Gideon Force will be able to water their plots with for the especially in the times when they have the prolonged drought periods, such as what we're experiencing currently. So that is the main proposed beneficiaries who will benefit from the project.
Meanwhile, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Miguel Fleming, said this project is timely.
Our goal in the Federation is to develop resilient agri-food systems, and projects like these contribute to that development. Proper management is often ignored, which can have negative impacts in the long run. Soil and water, that goes together. We often hear soil and water conservation, the relationship between soil and water, right? And I think this is very timely, and I truly hope that what is taught and the knowledge shared by the experts, that our farmers would really put them into practice, right?
The project involves training and a program of diagnosis and technical recommendations on the development of demonstration plots in each country. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
As the island of St. Kitts continues to experience low annual rainfall patterns and the subsequent pressure it places on residential and commercial potable water availability, Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew said drilling will begin soon in the environs of Keon, an area that has been afflicted by water shortages for years. While a guest of radio program Issues St. Kitts Nevis on Freedom FM 106.5, Prime Minister Drew also spoke of the necessity for residents to be more conservative in the use of water.
In Keon, if you go there, the equipment is already being set up. We are going to drill in Keon because the scientists have found that water, there's a great possibility that water is in Keon, so we are going to drill here. Right now we are buying water from Marriott so that our people can have water, and we are on the verge of really getting into building, constructing a desalination plant, a 3 million gallon desalination plant, because our hope is to deliver water to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis 24/7. But at the same time, we are saying to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, we are going through a drought at this present moment, not because we had rain maybe 2 or 3 days. Please conserve water. Even if rain continues to fall, we still have a serious deficit. Conserve water. If you're going to wash your vehicle, use a bucket. If you're going to bathe, do not stand on the shore for umpteen length of time. Curtail. When you're washing your dishes, maybe you might think about filling the sink, wash them, then rinse them, instead of having the water running all the time while you are rinsing or washing your dishes. We need to find ways. Be mindful of water in your garden at this time. So we have to find ways of conserving water, because we are going through a drought, and that is because of climate change. And we know that we even had some deficit because we did not drill, and so we are getting in the process. So we want to really deliver.
The government is banking also on successful desalination as a key medium-term solution, with solar energy as the power source. Glenn Barth reporting for SK Newsline.
Music's finest artists converge in Bastia from June 22nd to June 24th for the 25th hosting of the St. Kitts Music Festival. Hitting the festival main stage will be Skillibeng, Chronix, Coffee, Byron Messiah, Anthony B, Governor, Romain Virgo, TJ, Valiant.
Them boy don't got no body.
Grandmasters, Collision Band, Small X Band, New Vibes Band International, Mr. Bagdal, Akai You Sweet, Greedy, Guess the Band, Ricardo Drew, Patrice Roberts, Skinny Fabulous, Nyla Blackman, Status. Erica Edwards, 313 Family, Gramps Morgan, Nitra B, Ear Supply, Dexter Daps, and Burner Boy. It's the 25th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from June 22nd to June 24th at Warner Park. An experience like no other. Tickets are now available at stkittsmusicfestival.com.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
You're hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar.
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She will give you more than you can imagine.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
As the conversation surrounding the announcement that the political directorate is to benefit from a significant salary hike, it was revealed today that the Prime Minister's decision to forego the increase will also impact past and future heads of government. With the latest, here's Natalia Clark.
It appears Prime Minister Andrew Holness's decision to refuse his salary increase to the tune of 214% is binding for both past and future heads of government. For the foreseeable future, the salary will remain at $9.1 million annually, the equivalent of $764,000 Jamaican dollars monthly.
What the Prime Minister asked is that the scale for Prime Minister remain as it is. So that is the salary scale. It's not an individual Andrew Holness decision. He has asked that the salary scale for Prime Minister remain unchanged.
Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark also assures the nation the Prime Minister will not benefit from changes in allowances. Whatever it was prior to the compensation reform is what it will continue to be. He urges the public to not see this process in isolation. Instead, see it as an effort to improve the country.
In recognition of the fact that these are members who we task with the responsibility of approving multi-billion-dollar multi-billion-dollar buildings, multi-billion-dollar hotels. Right? This is the responsibility of local government. We have to ensure that the remuneration is consistent with the responsibilities and hence the reforms at the local government level that we've undertaken.
And as the opposition is raising questions about Holness's authority to order the office of the Prime Minister's salary remain unchanged and seeking to assess if it was or was not a cabinet decision, the Information Minister provides a response.
The increase in parliamentary salaries was not a matter that came on the cabinet's agenda for discussion and decision. It was an automatic pegging that has been happening for over 30 years. And I think the minister has said it numerous times, I have said it numerous times, but there seems to be, in the whole conversation, some attempt to ignore the facts that have been presented by us.
The government ministers again insists the national compensation overhaul agenda is to modernize governance in Jamaica. Natalia Clark, CVM Live.
As the country continues to mourn the lives of the 19 children whose lives were lost as a result of the Madia dorm fire, a national candlelight vigil was held on Tuesday at the Umanayana Georgetown to reflect and honor the brave souls. Families of the victims, survivors, ministers of government, and members of the diplomatic community were all present to show their support for the persons affected by the tragedy. President Irfan Ali, in addressing the grieving relatives, called on Guyanese to extend support and love to the families and their communities.
This is a time when we should dig deep into our hearts and reach out with love, reach out with care, and reach out with kind words in support of these families.
He reassured the nation that his government plans on doing everything in their power to support the families and children of Madia moving forward.
These communities will no doubt require healing. We are sparing no effort in ensuring that we give all the possible resources to help in this healing.
President Ali also thanked members of the joint services, medical professionals, and all parties involved in providing help during the critical time.
All our officers, our nurses, our doctors, all those in the community who helped tremendously for the last 48 plus hours. They have been around the clock. I want to thank you and ask that you continue to pour your love and your help into these families and these children.
19 children lost their lives and several others were injured on Sunday last in a deadly fire that was maliciously set by a student of the Madia Secondary School dormitory after her phone was allegedly confiscated by the dorm mother. Scores of condolences have since been pouring in from both the regional and international communities. President Ali has since declared 3 days of mourning and flags flown at half-mast for the lives lost. Renata Burnett, reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' announcement on Twitter that he's running for president eventually became a discussion on policy and culture war issues.
Truth needs to be our foundation. Common sense can no longer be an uncommon virtue. And in Florida, we proved it could be done.
DeSantis didn't mention his chief Republican rival, former President Trump, but he took direct shots at President Joe Biden.
Biden's pursued inflationary policies that are hurting working people. We will reverse those policies, and we'll build an economy where working Americans can achieve a good standard of living.
Plans for the announcement were initially derailed by massive technical glitches on Twitter's audio platform. For 21 minutes, the feed included silence and crackling audio. The site's owner, Elon Musk, who was hosting the event, could be heard saying so many people were logged in, Twitter's servers were melting.
I think we've got just a massive number of people online, so it's servers are straining somewhat.
Some of DeSantis' opponents were quick to mock the technical difficulties. The Trump campaign labeled the launch Ron's disaster. President Biden tweeted the caption, "This link works," leading people to his fundraising campaign. The Democratic National Committee writing in a statement, "In true Ron DeSantis fashion, his presidential launch was quite literally not ready for prime time." And during an appearance on Fox News last night, the show's host poking fun at the rocky rollout.
Fox News will not crash during this interview.
But DeSantis voicing optimism, saying the number of listeners was an example of the enthusiasm around his campaign.
We need the courage to lead and the strength to win.
DeSantis joins a Republican field that trails Trump significantly in the polls, including Senator Tim Scott, who made his first campaign stop yesterday, holding a town hall in Iowa, and Nikki Haley, holding an event in New Hampshire, accusing DeSantis of, quote, copying Trump.
He needs to be his own person. He needs to get out there and say what he believes, what he thinks. If he's just going to be an echo to Trump, people just vote for Trump.
And meanwhile, the super PAC supporting DeSantis' presidential run is ramping up, hiring dozens of staffers across 18 states.
Beijing rolled out the red carpet for Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin, the highest-ranking Kremlin official to visit China since Russia invaded Ukraine. Beijing is strengthening ties with Moscow despite criticism from the West. Meeting President Xi Jinping on Wednesday, Mishustin said relations had reached an unprecedented high. The two sides signed agreements to deepen cooperation in trade, services, agriculture, and sports. On Tuesday, Mishustin opened a business forum in Shanghai, attended by about 500 Russian delegates. Trade between the two soared by 30% in 2022. Mishustin says it could reach $200 billion this year. With plans to increase Russian exports of grain and energy and manufacture more Chinese cars in Russia. Moscow is increasingly using the yuan and sells oil and gas to Beijing at a bargain price. Analysts say Russia is more dependent on China than ever before.
It's definitely fair to say that it's an unequal partnership for sure. It's important to remember that even prior to the Ukraine invasion, the Russian economy was orders of magnitude smaller than the Chinese economy. And now that a lot of it's been shut out of Western markets, China has become an increasingly important buyer for Russian energy.
But while there are benefits, there are also liabilities. The friendship has damaged Beijing's reputation in Europe, and China's special envoy is now working to repair it. This past week, Li Hui has visited Ukraine, Poland, and France. Officials say his tour is a mission of peace, though Kiev says it won't accept any ceasefire that involves losing territory to Russia. The visit follows the G7 summit in Japan, where Western leaders repeated condemnation of Russia's invasion, something Beijing has refused to do, saying it's neutral in the conflict. Xi Jinping declared a no-limits partnership with Russia before the war. He needs Putin's support in what he's described as an ideological struggle with the US and its allies. But this partnership does have limits. China's economy depends on the West, and it must be careful to comply with international sanctions. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
Security Forces FC and Sol Island Auto Supplies Connery FC drew 2-2 in their SKNFA Premier League rescheduled Round 2 match, played at the Warner Park Thursday, under the newly installed lights at the stadium. Errol Loughlin got the goal scoring off for Connery in the 7th minute before Daniel Francis equalised in the 31st minute. Tijani Faye then gave Connery the lead in the 40th minute, but 3 minutes later, Daniel Francis struck again, putting one past Connery's goalkeeper Clifford Samuel in the 43rd minute. Connery created several opportunities in the second half but failed to put them away, hitting the crossbar at least twice. Coach of Connery, Al Richards, said they have some work to do on their finishing as they missed a lot of opportunities to score.
Well, it was a bad night at the office, I must say well into Security Forces put up a challenge. I mean, we team didn't execute tonight, many chances. We got some easy goal for half, show a lot of chances with matches, so we didn't score, so we draw. Well, we have to execute, you know what I mean, it's simple there, we have to execute. Long as we execute, we can win, you know what I mean, simple as that.
Coach Sinclair Morris of our Security Forces said the result was a good one for his team.
It was a good result, with a well-fought game. First half wasn't too good, but then the second half, coming out in the game, we were more organized in terms of defense and looking out for the quick counter-attack by our players. Well, as I told the players, we're enjoying so much, right? That we need to stop and start focusing on the win. We have to play to win now. That's right. I mean, every game we have to win at least about 6 games. Our 6 next games coming up to put us in a situation where we can stay up in the Premier, and that was our objective for this year.
The SKNFA Premier League continues Friday at 6 p.m. in Birch House.